Joining us via Zoom in Queensland is David Inderias, the co-founder and CEO of the Fresh Supply Company. How are you, David?
I'm doing well in sunny Queensland. We're happy to hear that you guys are doing well in Victoria and things are opening up again. Really happy, really pleased for you guys.
Listen, let me tell you, the world is pleased that Victoria is starting to smile again. But there is something you want to talk about. It's the APAC Provenance Council. It's one of those industry bodies that does some terrific work. It's a non-for-profit consortium. Tell us what it does. What is it designed to do and what is it doing?
Well, just like we've seen the acceleration of work from home and digitalization of how we communicate, just like we're doing right now on Zoom, we've seen the acceleration of the digitalization of supply chains. Pre-COVID, we were talking about sending product to China, making sure that the product was authentic because that's an issue for that market. It's become a lot bigger than that, right? So we've seen these, everyone's been touched by it, right? Supply chain.
Yep.
So if we talk about toilet paper, we talk about shortages, we talk about worries of this and that. We're acutely aware of how reliant we are on supply chains, right?
I wish you hadn't mentioned toilet paper, because in Victoria, we went through two periods where it seemed like it was the most precious commodity in the state. Thankfully, the hordes of shoppers have subsided and people have gone back to shopping properly. But for a couple of weeks there, it looked awful, absolutely awful. So we understand
strange times.
Oh, absolutely. So we understand authenticity. We also understand supply more than ever before.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We're more acutely aware of that. And whether that's just authentication and traceability, there's a lot of benefits to that, right? So making sure consumers, as well as retailers and distributors are stocked with product, having visibility on that, so that we can supply, they can supply their consumers.
I would have thought retailers, for retailers and the people who are buying this product in huge numbers or making orders, traceability is absolutely vital, and I can imagine authenticity, another thing that in this day and age has never been more important.
That's right. So making sure that we get the right thing, that it is true to what's promised on the box. I just read a couple days ago in The Age that there was product coming over from South Africa that was, the product was coming over from South Africa and they were boxing it up in Australia and saying it was Australian made. So, that's where I start getting to when I start talking about authenticity. We're acutely aware of, number one, supply chains. We rely on them to get us product, right? But we also want to support not only Australian, but local. But yes, it really resonates with us, right?
Hugely so. And we've seen the milk formula come to the news it's come very much to the headlines over the last couple of weeks, with people wondering where in heaven's name was it sourced from, who's making it, and indeed, is it an Australian product? And it goes back to what you were talking about earlier. This APAC Provenance Council, I suppose, goes all the way to identifying what is right, what it says is right, and whether it can be backed up.
Yeah, the whole premise of it is, particularly for producers, it's hard work to be able to, there's so many levels to it, right? It's multifaceted, or maybe like layers of an onion, right?
Yep.
There's actual marking of product, right? There's the engagement side. I paid a lot of money for this. What is it? Why is it so good? There could be the recall side. Okay, there was an issue with the quality of this product, or someone got sick, unfortunately. Where did it come from? It could go all the way down to labeling and packaging around the implementation side. How can I actually mark these with the funny little QR codes or lava markers that we're seeing everywhere now? Pre-COVID, only only a few were comfortable. Now everyone's comfortable with and knows what these markers are, the digital enablement. So there's a lot of different pieces to this, to the puzzle. And that's what APAC Provenance is actually tasked with doing, making it easy to implement these sorts of things.
And also the tools it's using, blockchain and other things that you mentioned, the Lava
Correct.
IDs. Give us a sense of how they're changing the way people are shopping.
Well, the engagement side of it, right? So again, remember that this whole the whole COVID piece accelerated the way we shop, going from in-store to online. Well, if I'm missing out on the pickup, touch, feel, how can I augment that, right? I'm not getting the touch, feel, how firm is this mango or avocado, whatever the product is, right? I'm not getting the same experience. Can we augment that? Can we allow the brands to reach the consumers, right? I mean, particularly, us in Queensland wouldn't have felt it the same way, but half our tech team is based in Melbourne, right? So everyone's locked down. How can we actually reach further and expand the engagement, right? We pay good money for the things that we choose. Big keyword is choose to buy, right? And how can we make that experience better? So with Lava, not only are you securing it, securing is a big, is very important. It's got very secure, it's got secure secure aspects to its technology, but also the engagement. That's really important. The world's going a certain way.
Is APAC working very hard to make sure that the story gets out there and people understand that all this new technology is making things much, much better for everyone involved and for every player in this multi-tiered system of supply and demand?
Yeah, so we're working really hard, typically at the industry and some state government levels, as well as some work that we're doing. I can't say exactly whom, but we're working on a bilateral kind of trade flows between Australia and the Middle East. And we're all aware of, there's no need to shy away from it, that there have been some issues with China. And can we explore strengthening trade with other markets, so that, Australian producers aren't, left out cold.
Yes, well, we saw that with the way that some of the ore that Australia was sending to China had been put on the docks there and wasn't being moved. Now, of course, with the ability to find other markets, we've been able to move that, and all those producers have been able to make their money. So it's very important to understand where we can send it, and importantly to prove that when we send it, it's where it's meant to come from. So authenticity,
Yeah,
absolutely
right.
key. Now, there's something else that you're very much involved with, and it's the Sir Edmund Hillary Fellowship. Tell me about that. What's behind that, and why did you get involved?
Well, we'd done some work in New Zealand, working in honey and horticulture, right? And in some ways it's a similar market to Australia, in other ways it's very different, right? But the fellowship itself is, it's a group of individuals that are, it's entrepreneurs and investors. So either I have, really impact driven, meaning I'm driven towards outcome, right? Socially, economically. So either I've got a venture, I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm an investor. So when you mix together a group of people that are, that want to have a social impact, it could be mindfulness, it could be so many different things, right? So again, social as well as economic, right? It could be trade, it could be authenticity, it could be digitalization of food systems. There's so many different layers to it, right? And then you take that special group of people and then you give them a kind of a place where they can incubate that and accelerate that and actually work with decision makers and policy makers, being New Zealand government, guys like NPI, Ministry of Primary Industries, NZTE. And it's a lifelong fellowship. So we're committed to on the kind of 10+ year horizon as well as short term, right, to make a difference and being able to work within systems of government that typically move really slowly. And because we are Edmund Hillary or EHF fellows, we can engage with the decision makers and get things done.
Sir Edmund Hillary was an absolute pioneer in so many different areas. He was also a humanitarian and an extraordinary ambassador for not only New Zealand but for a great many other organisations that he was involved in. Terrific to see that his legacy continues and it's again bringing people together. And that in itself is a fantastic legacy. David Inderias, thank you for giving us a glimpse into the provenance, the APAC Provenance Council, and also the Edmund Hillary Fellowship and what it's doing. We'll catch up with you again soon, but if people want to know any more about one or the other, how do they go about it?
Well, currently on our LinkedIn page for the APAC Provenance, we've kept it very light, and the focus being on impact in terms of business-to-business relationships and enabling producers. You can get in touch that way, but yeah, check out ehf.org. You can see all the different fellows, and yeah, I mean, keep an eye out. We're going to continue to be doing press, and we've got a lot of interesting projects in the pipeline, both as APAC Provenance, Fresh Supply Co, and the work that we're doing in New Zealand and beyond. So yeah, keep an eye out.
The CEO of the Fresh Supply Company, who's full of ideas and helping not only businesses but people right around the marketplace. David Inderias on The Informer.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, David.